Hi, I'm Sophie. I thought I'd make this video because I'm in France at the moment and I have managed to obtain the French passports, the EU passports for my dogs. So I thought I'd try and help people by telling them how I managed to do it. So if you had the old pet passports, you can no longer use them because of Brexit. So from the 1st of January 2021. But I think Northern Ireland, they can still use them. I don't know. Northern Ireland's a different case. So what you have to do instead is to get one of these. And it's not actually that complicated. It's just that it's 9 pages long. It's in French and English. And the weirdest thing is, it's an identity document, it doesn't have your dog's name on it. I think it's bizarre. That's just me. So when you're filling in this form, it has to be stamped on every single page, right? And stamped as well on the paper clip. Stamp is really important. Basically, it's your name, an address, the address where you're going to. You have to have an address in France, even if it's a campsite. I wouldn't write campsite on it. My address was just like the name of a village and a town, because that's my friend's address. You don't need to have a house number or house name or anything. And here, the identity for the dogs. It says dog, female, golden retriever, microchip number, and their age. Okay. Next page. There's nothing filled in at all. It just has the number of the certificate on each page. Nothing else to fill in. On page 4 is the rabies bit. Okay. Your dog must have must be microchipped before you get the rabies vaccine, but most people do have their dog microchipped, right? So here it's got the rabies bit, it's got the microchip number, date of birth, the date of vaccination, there's Nobivac, the batch number, and when it expires. Okay, so all your rabies details are there. Even though you have these passports, you still have to carry this for 3 years or until your rabies vaccine runs out. Okay, so you can't track that out. This document has all the rabies information in, and this document hasn't. So you have to use the two concurrently. Then, next bit is just the microchip number, right? This bit, it just says it's for dogs, cats and ferrets. I mean, has anyone ever taken a ferret on holiday? I don't think so. Next page, there's nothing filled in. Nothing filled in. Okay, here we go. Page 8 is the address of your vet. Okay, on page 8. Page 9, I have signed it twice and I have the microchip numbers. So it's not really complicated. The address where I live in England, address I'm going to in France, my vet's name and address, my dog's microchip numbers, and the date they were vaccinated for rabies, and when the rabies vaccine expires, and that's it. So when you have this document, you have to travel within 10 days, okay, of receiving it. You have to take your dogs into the vet. I emailed this information before, but my vet already had the details about microchip and rabies, so all they needed was the address I was going to, right, which I emailed, and the form was ready for me. You have to take your dogs into the vet, you have to pay for a consultation fee, and you put all 3 dogs. You can have 5 dogs on one form, or 5 cats, or 5 ferrets, right? 5 is the maximum, 1 breed per form. Okay, so all you're doing is paying for this piece of paper, and the more they fill in, I mean, it's really not complicated. I don't know why vets are making mistakes with it. But I paid £120 for that, which is fair enough. Okay, you have to travel within 10 days. It only lasts 4 months. from the date it was issued, not the date you travelled, the date it was issued. Okay, so it will last 4 months or until your rabies expires. So if you travel to France and your rabies expires, rabies vaccine expires, then it won't be valid anymore and you have to get a rabies vaccine in France. If you say you're going to France, you can't then go to Spain or Belgium. Right, as your port of entry. Your port of entry has to be the same. Okay, it's only valid for 1 trip. So even if you go for a weekend and 2 weeks later you go for another weekend, you have to get another certificate each time you travel, which is really annoying. Okay, your dog has to be microchipped before you get your rabies jab done. There has to be at least 21 days after your rabies jab before you get the certificate. And if you have an old EU passport with your rabies vaccine details on, then you would photocopy that and it would be attached to this document by your vet. Okay, not all the passports, just the one that has the current rabies vaccine, which is still valid, okay, which is still in date. That's the one which needs to be attached to this document. So when you go and see your vet to get this document, you need to give your address, the address where you're traveling, the date you're traveling, the place where you're crossing. So I was crossing Eurotunnel. Your ownership, you're signing on this form to say you own the dogs. Your vet will confirm the rabies vaccination, and the vet will also check your microchip and also check that against the date of birth of the dog on the records, and the vet will also know my address in the UK. So, and then you've got this form, which is pretty useless really. I mean, you have to get it once because this document doesn't have details of any other vaccination, right? You don't need to have your dog vaccinated up to date because some people don't believe in vaccinations anyway. The only one you need is rabies. That's the only issue that they're worried about, okay, even though we don't have rabies in the UK. Well behaved dogs on leaves. Got that, Mia? Well behaved. We're going over to pet exercise area over here and to go and see what they've got for, I think that's the toilet area in there, just for running under the grass. And this is a little obstacle course. Look at that! What's not for doing? Here they are, running around the obstacle course. There's a tunnel, there's some weaving poles, platform, jumps, up and down thing, going through the whole thing. There we are. Ready to go on the shuttle? Lola's on the left. She has to hand over my passport. So here we are, in Eurotunnel, going under the sea. Puppy's still a bit bonkers. She was sitting in the back. As soon as I drove onto the train, she jumped over into the front, and then I lost my passport for like ages. She couldn't find it anywhere. So yeah, Lola and me have got used to travelling. It's just Poppy who's a bit silly. Are you, Poppy? Yeah. So we're in Eurotunnel at the moment, going along on the train. It took us quite a while to check in because of all the extra checks. You have to show your NHS app, your negative test. It's more paperwork than usual. Just checking the dogs in took a while. It's checking each microchip. A vet in France, there are 3 issues, right? Some vets do not speak English, or they don't really want to help English tourists. Your French might not be good enough to explain what you want to do. You still need a local address on this document here. finger over my phone number. Inside your EU passport for your dog, it has a French address, okay? So they're registering your dog as a French dog. The side, you're going to have a little photo, and there's a description of your dog. And at least they've got the dog's name in here, right? And then the next page is all the details, the microchip, date of birth, the vet's details, and then they've recorded again the details about the rabies vaccine. And then when I had my dogs done with the tapeworm pills, that's again stamped in here. So this needs to be stamped, the tapeworm needs to be stamped into this EU passport, not onto that one. Then when you go back to England, you're using both documents together. Okay, there's some other problems when you're going to get your EU passport. Some vets will want to do a new rabies jab, okay, because they won't accept a rabies jab that's done in England. They just think, oh no, they haven't done it, it's not their dog. They want to do a new one. I would just look for another vet. Also, some rabies jabs are for 1 year. I wouldn't do one of those. I would insist on a 3-year jab because you don't want to keep going back to the vet. If you live in France, genuinely live in France, this might only cost you €5. So vets might be reluctant to give you one because it's so little money. So you might need to offer to pay for a consultation, which is €30. I paid for one consultation and I got 3 of these. These were £9 each. Consultation was £30. But then when I had the tapeworm done, the vet was a bit cheeky and he said I had to bring the dogs in one at a time, which was just so, it was like in a more tourist area in the Dordogne. He charged me 3 consultation fees. So you need to look out for that. If you have lots of dogs, obviously it's better to charge just to pay 1 consultation fee. So when you're looking for a vet, if I was you, I would just walk into local vets with my dogs and just say, I would like a French passport for my dog, right? I'm staying in France. Staying, you know, means you could be living here, you could be here for a while. So I'm staying in France, this is my address, can I have a French passport? And they say, oh, no. And then you say, I'll pay for a consultation. Okay, and they check your dog's health properly. They check their heart, their eyes, their teeth, ears, everything. It's a really thorough consultation. It's worth having a checkup with the vet, and then you get your EU passport, and this then lasts forever, right? Another problem actually with this passport is you can no longer have when you get your rabies vaccine, you have to come back to the EU. You can't get your rabies vaccine done in Britain, and your British vet shouldn't really write stuff in here because this is only for use in the EU. So if your vaccine runs out while you're in the UK, if we're in lockdown or something and you can't travel to France, you will have to get another one of these, then go into France and then use the 2 documents together. But you can't get your rabies vaccine updated in the UK on this passport, right? That's something you really need to remember, okay? So you don't need any other vaccines. Basically, all you need is a friendly vet in France, an address in France, even if you just make it up from the local town, okay? Microchip dogs and a current proof of rabies, which is in here. So try not to get more rabies vaccines done. Don't go for 1-year rabies vaccine. So your rabies vaccine, which you've had done in the UK, which is documented on here, will last you for 3 years. So you need to make sure that you're back in the EU within that 3-year period. And it's also much cheaper because you probably won't pay for, I don't know, you might not pay for a consultation, or it's €40 usually with a consultation just for a vaccine. So vet's fees are like half the price in France. And so this is, I mean, there's people who are paying 100 euros per dog. So that's 100 euros and per dog for some people. Well, I paid 120. 120 euros for one trip. 9 euros lasts forever, okay? So obviously you've got to get these EU passports. And just, I don't know, try lots of different vets. You know, every town you're in, just walk into the vet and ask them. And good luck with that. It'll be good.
Oui, c'est ça. Et l'autre, c'est 36,54. Tu peux vérifier.
C'est le plus foncé. Voilà. C'est 36,54, c'est ça.
Ok, donc ça c'est bon. Rabies vaccination, where it is, you know?
Donc,